I am not entirely sure if you take suggestions. However, I might as well try. Bad Parenting, a horror game that shares a similar visual style as mouthwashing, is a pretty good one. It may have a short story, but I hope you can take a look into it. Well, I always love to take some suggestions, but looking at this game, it looks a bit generic, but what the hell, it's only a single quid and it seems to be pretty well received online, so I'll give it a whirl, and I'm always down to play something that looks a bit funny. Man, what have you guys got me playing? Like, Jesus Christ, what is being made now in the indie horror scene? Bad Parenting 1, Mr. Redface, a game from just looking at its Steam page, looks like, honestly, it doesn't look like it has a lot to offer. It looks quite generic and a bit bland, if I say so myself. But trust me, this game will surprise you and tells quite a strong narrative about its namesake, Bad Parents. Developed by 2002 Studio or 2002 Studio, a Vietnamese game studio, or a single developer called On. Now, this is the first horror game made by this developer, and the first game in general that was released to a wider market, as I actually don't know if he made any other itch.io games, but this seems to be the first one that seems to have gotten a good bit of traction under it. But they do have quite a lot of horror background, having worked on an analog horror series called, I'm not even going to try say that, but translated it means Programming Class Episode 666, and unfortunately I don't really get it. But I do get Bad Parenting, so let's get back into that and dive into the game. Of course, I encourage you to play it for yourself. It's less than an hour long and it costs peanuts to play. And like always, support the developers whenever possible so we get more stuff like this. Hey, look, a door. Story 1. Mr. Redface. Yes, this is going to have sequels and I'm definitely going to look at them in the future. Mom, you're home late again. Seems someone has been absent from the house and is been leaving her son, as we can guess this is the mother, as he's called son, and he calls her mother, has been left alone on his own in the house when she goes to work. Come on, I was busy with work. Can you have some sympathy for me? Now, working late is nothing unusual. I myself work the night shift, so I get it. Either, depending on how you look at it, it's either very late or very early, but it's probably late in the afternoon, I'd have to assume. But it does seem this mother is forced to work long hours in order to provide for her son. Why is this? Well, we don't know yet, but we'll definitely get an insight into it in a couple minutes. But today is my birthday. Well, that isn't very good, as it should always be the parent's responsibility to remember things like this for their children. Your objective in life changes once you become a parent. You go from someone that does stuff for yourself to everything that you do is for the children now, as that's what makes a good parent. But let's hope that this mother actually did remember and at least got something for her son, or maybe even a cake, or anything, just anything to show that she remembered it was his birthday. Oh, of course, I know that. Yeah, she forgot. We now see one of the worst things you can do as a parent: forget or be neglectful. The mother not remembering her son's birthday to me shows she is absent-minded and she doesn't truly 100% care for her son, being a bit neglectful of him, not really caring about him and his own life. Seemingly, this is not an important thing for her to actually celebrate the birthday of her son, something that should be very important to her herself and something that she should definitely remember. Of course, life is hard at times and we don't know this person's life, but to me, what makes a good parent is someone who does everything for their children, as I stated, and is willing to do anything and everything to make sure that their child is their number one priority. But of course, food does need to be put on the table, so my next question is this a single mother, and is there a father in the picture? Then where's my gift? The most child response to a parent who does not get them anything and shows that they completely forgot about their own birthday. They don't care that they forgot, they care about the gift. Have you ever heard of Mr. Redface? On the birthday of good children, Mr. Redface secretly leaves gifts while they're asleep. Now, while this may seem innocent, akin to something like Santa Claus, for example, to me it shows a more neglectful attitude and relationship between the two. The mother isn't even talking about the mistake that she made. She doesn't apologize to her son for her forgetting and saying that she'll make up to him. She just makes something up and lies to the child, saying that he'll get his gift if he goes to bed early, and she does this. She makes the boy go to bed instead of apologizing, and while he's asleep she'll probably go out and buy something for him and then give it to him in the morning and say, oh, Mr. Redface got it for you. But it's something that she just made up in order to make herself not look as bad and to try fix a problem that she completely made. Now, of course, with the name Mr. Redface, you will immediately think this is probably based off a real story or a real folktale. Now, I actually tried my hardest to find something akin to Mr. Redface, but I couldn't find anything. This game does not have a lot of writing about it online. There's not a lot of Reddit things, and a lot of these story explanations do not go into the actual game itself. They don't dive into it. So when I saw Mr. Redface, I immediately thought, okay, is this based on an old folktale from the developer's own childhood? So of course I looked up Mr. Redface if it was a real thing. It's not. It's completely made up. So I started looking up Vietnamese folktales for getting children to go to bed, and I couldn't really find a lot. Of course, the only figure that is anywhere near to this kind of thing of a character that brings gifts to good children is Santa or St. Nicholas. So that's the only thing I can really link it to, but I think it's something that the mother just made up on the spot in order to get her son to go away, basically.
Really? Of course. If you want to get your gift, you have to go to bed right away.
As I said, she doesn't want to deal with her own child, so she makes something up in order to make him go away, and she basically tells him to go to bed and shut up. Basically, she just wants to go home and then go to sleep, probably.
I'm going to bed right now, Mom.
Now this brother looks funny. I do love this game's overall aesthetic. The developer stated that they were very heavily inspired by Courage the Cowardly Dog, and yeah, the game does show it a lot. Its overall grunginess and the look of character designs is a very unique style to it, one which is ugly as hell but also very interesting to look at, and it does keep you engaged, and it does help to characterize characters just by looking at them. The dad looks scary, he looks distorted, and he looks not like a good person, while the mother seems a bit normal. She seems like she is just a normal person that has her own issues. And the child, once we see him, he looks very innocent. Then this brother here, the father, is wearing the essential Brexit geezer house attire, wearing just his pants and a vest, or as some call them, a wife beater, due to some unfriendly individuals in high places wearing one while doing its nickname. You're fooling the kid again. How many times have you come home this late? As I stated, this seems to be a regular occurrence in this household, but there must be a good reason for this, as I mean, they don't seem to be living in luxury, so maybe they're living paycheck to paycheck and the mother just needs to pick up them extra hours just to make ends meet and what they need in order to live.
I was working and my shift ended late.
Bullshit. You still think I'm an idiot, don't you? Hey, little shit, get back in your room. Don't stand here eavesdropping on grown-up conversations.
Okay.
That was my exact response to this entire conversation as well. The dad seemingly comes out of nowhere. His anger just seems random, almost untargeted, like just a frenzy. He must know what work she does if they're living together, and I'm assuming they're married and had a child together. So he probably knows what hours she works and what job she works. So immediately jumping to her being a liar, to me shows a very, let's say, not working very well relationship. It's definitely falling apart, and to me it shows two people that either A, should have never been in a relationship, or B, are far past the expiration date of their relationship. Well, let's go back to our room, and hitting the hay, we drift off to bed. But unfortunately, our sleep paralysis demon doesn't want us to go to bed just quite yet. However, he's the only one that actually remembers our birthday, leaves us a gift at the foot of our bed, and places something in the wardrobe. This is Mr. Redface, and he does seem like a rather fine gentleman, leaving a nice gift and not disturbing us too much. Now, getting up, we can retrieve our gift, and it is a doll. Now, the next question you should be asking is Mr. Redface real? Well, it looks like we are currently looking at a physical, tangible object, the doll, but its appearance is a bit odd, I would say. It looks a bit just odd a bit.
Is that the gift from Mr. Redface? No way!
Hi, I'm Ron. What on earth? So it speaks, and straight away, I'm questioning this child's mental state. There are two main reasons I think this could be passed off as either a mental state or just a child. One side is at an age where imaginary friends are a thing. This child is most likely young, probably the 5 to 7 range I'd assume, and he has such a vivid imagination he can imagine this doll talking to him. Or B, he has a mental illness. Yay, I get to talk about psychology again.
What? You can talk?
Of course, because I was created by magic. That's a way to put it.
You even have the same name and appearance as me.
Well, we know the son's name is Ron now, and he looks like the doll and it's mirrored. So whatever the doll has, the son must also have. That's right, my master made me just for you.
Your neck seems a bit loose.
I'm sure this small detail of the neck being loose is not important to the overall plot of the game, and is definitely not foreshadowing something in the future. It's okay. Sometimes my master makes mistakes. This is just a small flaw compared to the other dolls. What's important is that from now on, I'll be your best friend.
That sounds wonderful. Do you want to play something with me?
My master stored my toys in the closet. Could you get them for me? That's where Mr. Redface put whatever he had in the morning into our closet. I guess we should go see what there is in the closet and what Mr. Redface also left for us. The closet is still stuck? Can you try that again?
I've tried my best. I can't open it. Do you want me to do something else?
I'm hungry.
You're a doll. Can you even eat?
No, you'll be the one eating, but I'll be able to feel everything you eat. My master linked all your senses and emotions to me, so I can easily understand you.
Wow, that's amazing.
So this doll, seemingly, is some kind of voodoo doll type object. An object linked to a physical being, but instead of the person, the boy, experiencing whatever happens to the doll experiences whatever happens to Ron. A sort of inverted thing. I'm sure this will also be used in the future to show us something that has happened to Ron. But here, something you should be thinking about: if the neck seems a bit loose and the doll was created by Mr. Redface to basically be an exact copy of Ron, then what does that say about Ron? Is this hinting at something that happened to him in the past or the future? Or does it just mean Ron has a bit of a weak neck? Alright, let's head to the kitchen and grab some grub.
You're reading this letter at 1 p.m., aren't you, sleepyhead? I've prepared your favorite dish in the fridge, so remember to heat it up before eating. Lately, I've noticed you've been getting lazy about eating. You know I don't have much time at home, so please learn to take care of yourself and stop making me worry. One more thing, don't forget to take your medicine after eating. Mom.
Okay, so the mother obviously leaves early and gets home very late, with her preparing food for Ron and leaving it in the fridge for him to heat up and eat. But he hasn't been eating of late, and she's been a bit absent, so they very clearly don't have that close of a relationship, and Ron has been having to basically fend for himself, because his father is very much a deadbeat dad. But we also got medicine to take as well. Intriguing. I wonder if we will take this medicine with our food. Spoiler alert, we will not. Now, what is the presence of medicine hinting at in this story? Well, obviously, you then start to ask questions about what is the medicine for. It could be anything. Like, there's no point of trying to pin it down, but you'll probably be asking one of two things. Is it a physical thing or a mental thing? That is the main thing you should be questioning. Now, can I say what this child might have? No, I can't. I can't even guess. My guess is it's probably a mental condition, as we've been seeing some strange things, and the doll seems to be a mental creation in my eyes and not something that would be based in reality, like an imaginary friend. The child could have a mental condition on the broad range of anything. So let's continue and see if we can find any other hints about what he might have and find out. We can now eat our favorite food. Spaghetti, I think? Is that your favorite dish? Do you want to see me perform some magic?
Yes, please.
Alright, I'll make this plate of food never run out. Every time you finish eating, the dish will be restored to its original state.
Wow, that's amazing. What else can you do?
Ah yes, a good bit of boozing. What the fuck?
What just happened?
I don't know. You guess.
Oh no, the bottle. My dad's gonna whip my ass. I hope he's still asleep.
Okay, so Ron munches on his spaghetti a bit, but it reappears after he finished it, almost as if he didn't eat the spaghetti. But the doll does call it magic, whatever that is. The booze being drunk by the doll, which turns into Mr. Redface, yeah, this child has got some kind of mental problem, and was Mr. Redface actually here? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's a flashback or a flash forward, depending on how you see it. Or there is a ghost. That is the only other option. Maybe this doll is linked to a very angry being living in the house who enjoys a bit of schmoozing and a bit of boozing, but he is a bit of a reckless boozer. But it seems that Ron is also physically abused by his dad, which is a very sad thing to even have to think about and obviously have to endure in life. But he hopes that he's still asleep, almost as if he doesn't have work while his mum's at work. I'm sure his dad isn't a deadbeat, as I stated earlier, and I'm sure that he is a very hardworking man, but a man's man. You know, he likes to, give a bit of the physical treatment when teaching his children. I'm sure he doesn't sit around all day and just drinking and being a general arse of a person. I'm sure he has his reasons to be angry earlier. Your dad? Don't worry, my master is taking your dad away. What does that mean? Does that mean Mr. Redface has killed the father or done some unspeakable horror, fear and hunger style?
What did you say?
Rushing into the bedroom, we find it empty with no one in sight but the doll sitting there.
Where's my dad?
As I said, my master is taking your dad away.
Why?
Because your dad is a bad person. He often hits and yells at you. Parents like that are taken away by their master to protect children like you. This Mr. Redface doesn't seem like such a bad guy. Taking away people who are bad to their children and don't deserve any sort of respect. You know what I say? Yeah, fuck him. Leave him with him. He deserves it. But children, being ever so innocent, always want their parents, and they do deserve parents who are good people. So of course, Ron wants to get his dad back, convincing himself that his dad is not a bad man. But children can't do critical thinking very well, and they cannot comprehend how terrible some of the actions their parents truly are when they do them. I'm sure you out there now think back on something that your parents did when you were younger and think, wow, that's actually kind of shitty. But we kind of realize that people aren't perfect, but obviously when you're a child, you think that your parents are perfect and that there's nothing wrong with them and they're not bad people. They're obviously good people because they're your parents. You're meant to love them. That's what life's meant to do. But unfortunately, not all children are blessed with nice people.
But this is too much. My dad doesn't deserve that.
He's a bad person.
No, he's not. Please let my dad go. I'm begging you.
All right. But my master won't like this. It's quite a long way to where your dad is being held. You'll have to use a shortcut if you want to get there in time to save him.
Show me the way.
The shortcut is through your closet. Okay, a bit of an odd shortcut, a la Narnia, but let's follow the doll's lead. Going into the bedroom, we try to enter our wardrobe. You still can't open it? That's disappointing. I guess we'll have to use your parents' closet then. Well, let's go to our parents' room now and check their wardrobe out, and let's see if we can use this shortcut. You should know these closets can function as portals. They can take you anywhere you want, including where your dad is being held. Give it a try. Why the wardrobe, or closet for Americans, I guess if you call it that? Well, wardrobes have long had a strong link to the supernatural or paranormal. Why? Well, they often lack light sources inside, so often people think that they're evil because darkness equals bad. That's why the same thing with basements and attics, but also the door itself creates a mysterious unknown presence behind them, which we don't know what's behind it. All I'm saying is if there's a ghost in my wardrobe, can they stop fucking breaking it, because mine's falling apart. Side note as well, when I was doing research for like paranormal and wardrobes, I got a real kick out of reading some of the Reddit stories on r/paranormal about why entities like closets and wardrobes and how people prevent them from taking over their wardrobe and like what they do to ward them off. It's a fun read, honestly. I don't understand how people get to like that level of thinking. It's honestly, I would love to be in that situation where I genuinely believe that there's ghosts like wanting to do something to me. But again, no harm, no, I'm not making fun. It's just an interesting read that some people's lives are like that. Anyway, let's carry on. Now opening the parents' wardrobe.
There's nothing in here.
Oh right, I forgot. There are a few steps you need to take to activate this shortcut. Bring your dad's radio and place it in front of the closet. This radio will work like an elevator button. You need to select a frequency first. If you choose the right frequency, the door will open to the place you need to go. Seems like a lot of steps in order to just get a portal working. Honestly, they don't make them like they used to. Seems like that's not the one. Let's try again. Okay, let's continue and try another What the fuck is that? Okay, so what is this woman and why is it here? This is one of the main questions I had about this game, and something I don't see a lot of people asking is, what is this woman doing here? So of course, doing my research, and what I initially thought, I thought it was the mother who was dead. That's what I thought. I genuinely thought the father had killed the mother and run off. But that pure child innocence of us, we just ignore it and move right on at the sight of it. But spoilers alert, it's not the dead mother. Now, apparently, according to the Reddit thread, which I'm going to put here if I can find it again, there's an official response from a moderator on the Discord, and I can't be bothered to hunt down in a Discord for a thing, so I'm going to trust this, but it might be wrong. That apparently it's an Easter egg to the creator's dead ex. Yeah, I don't get it. I'm not going to comment on that. I'm not going to make any sort of jokes, because obviously if that's real, that's terrible. No one should have to go through that, but it's just a bit odd in my eyes to put this as an Easter egg and it not really have any sort of story relevance. But let's move on and I'll come up with a theory now, I guess. A theory I saw was that it might be an alternate world, a world where the mother is dead and was killed by the father due to his drunken rage or whatever. A potential idea that could definitely be a thing, but do I think it makes sense? No, not really. Personally, I just think it's the child's imagination. I think he just goes a bit bananas, and he obviously starts seeing a lot of things due to his degrading mental state, being isolated from probably society due to his parents not taking him anywhere and always being busy with either work or being drunk. But yeah, let's move on, because honestly, I really don't know anything about this thing. I think this is the one. Go ahead and step in. I'll stay here and watch the house. And now we enter the wardrobe and are transported to a rather interesting place with nothing but a destroyed car, a campfire, some trees, and a rather dapper looking chappie, a purple cat, and I hope he is nothing like the last purple cat I've previously encountered. What's up?
I'm looking for my dad.
Describe.
My dad's name is Bruce.
Wait a moment. There are many Bruces here. Any more details? Is this Bruce a good Bruce or bad Bruce?
Well, my dad is the kind of person who gets a bit angry.
So he's a bad Bruce. Let me see. There are still many bad Bruces. More specifics, please. What else does he do?
He often yells.
Still not enough information.
Sometimes he hits me and slaps too.
And? Oh God, oh please, oh Jesus, oh don't go here where I think it's gonna go.
That's all.
Oh, thank God it didn't go there. Of course it didn't go as extreme as that and was obviously hooking you to go to. Of course, from my mouth washing video and my fear and hunger video and my every other video that I'm probably gonna make in the future, we're talking about sexual assault here, and involving a child, which is even worse. But this conversation did outline Bruce as the kind of man that we were kind of picking the pieces out. He is a terrible father, he is a terrible man, and he is a terrible person. From his attitude in the beginning, it is clear that he isn't a good person. He is very angry, someone who's very bitter, and he takes his anger out on others, something that a true man should never do. Now, children often cannot comprehend how bad their parents are, as I stated earlier. It's a very real thing that children are very unable to talk about actual abuse that they experience from their parents. The parents are meant to present to them a normal living environment. They're meant to teach them how to live, how a family should be, and if it is normal for a parent to slap, hit, do whatever to a child, that is passed on to the child, and the child sees that as normal. It's very often where you see abused children who don't realize that they were abused and how bad it was. They then abuse their children and their children. It's a generational abuse. It just keeps getting passed down. It's a horrific thing, and genuinely, I have so much respect for people that get out of them abusive relationships, especially with their parents, and they make a life for their children that is, you know, one of the best that they can physically make. They go above and beyond, even more than they need to, but it's because they know that their children deserve it, because kids do deserve the world, and they deserve to be happy for the very little time that they have until they become an old bitter person like I've become now. We obviously don't know the full situation with Ron and his dad, or Bruce as he's called, but there is no excuse for it. Genuinely, there is no excuse for it, for this sort of behavior. In my opinion, even the act of getting drunk is, honestly, I think, inexcusable. Getting drunk to the point where you get angry is inexcusable in my eyes. I think getting drunk to the point where you start making mistakes and you know that you make these mistakes is inexcusable. It shows a very weak character and a weak will, someone who doesn't care about their own general well-being and doesn't care about others around them. It's why I don't do a lot of drinking myself. I do a bit of booze and schmooze, but I do it very much in a limit. I limit myself and I know what my limit is. But yeah, obviously Bruce, when he's drunk, sees no problem with physical assault on his child. So yeah, Ron sees this as not a bad thing and says that his dad's a good man because, hey, his dad's made him believe that it's a good thing. But yeah, let's find out where Bruce has gone then, okay? We can only hope he's in the fiery pits of hell for all I care. The door is behind you. Before we move on, let's look at the cat. Now, why is this cat here? A purple cat, to be exact. Well, let's rack our brains for a minute. Now, actually looking at what other people think, yeah, there's not a lot online, and even the developer hasn't said a lot about this. And the videos I watched about this game's story, and I just wanted to see what people took away from the game, they kind of just brush him aside and act like he doesn't really matter, which I find really odd, because he is such an interesting character and he sticks out a lot. So I obviously think he's given a bit of attention, so I'm going to give him a bit of attention. Now, the only thing that was ever really brought up was that he's a bookkeeper. But let's analyze him a bit more in depth than that. So first of all, there are three aspects that need to be looked at: his job, his race or species, he's a cat, and the color of him. First up, let's do the easy one, the color purple. An interesting colour and a rather fine colour if I do say so myself, and a colour with a shit ton of history within just the UK itself. Purple is the colour of the royal family. It is the royal colour. Why? Well, back in the olden days of when colours were a bit expensive, especially of this kind of calibre, purple was the most rare and most expensive colour to create. And this means it symbolises anything associated with a leader figure. Wisdom, power, wealth, nobility, but more importantly, spirituality, as here in the UK, the monarch is the head of the English church. So they have a very spiritual link to God, as well as its royal link. So there's two links here, royal and spiritual, but we're going to look at the spiritual side because this seems to be more spiritual in my eyes. In addition to this, the colour purple was also used in ancient Rome to represent death and was used in mourning, but also it is a colour that foreshadowed death, the fading of life as it moves from life to the afterlife. So it was a colour that was used probably in funerals and was put on dead bodies and was probably given to sick people to wear to show that, yeah, we're probably going to die soon. And a cap, a symbol of great power, especially in Egyptian mythos, but also heavily associated with the spiritual world as well, being said to be able to sense spirits, energies, and also ward off negative forces. So where are we? Well, we have a bookkeeper who tracks good and bad people. Now, this doesn't seem like Santa's naughty and nice list. This seems to be associated with something to do with death in my eyes. So if this is are you good or bad or good or evil, this seems to be purgatory. People waiting to be judged and sent to the final destination that their spirit will lie. The place that their lives' actions pick for them. But we aren't here for us. We're here to find our father, Bruce. And he was deemed a bad man. So has he gone to hell or something akin to it? And does that mean that Mr. Redface is the Grim Reaper or a similar entity, i.e. Sharon for the River Styx? An entity associated with the afterlife and taking people from their life and into their death.
Boo! Ha ha! You just got startled. Who are you guys? Just like you, we're kids, on our way to find our parents. We're staying here for a bit. Do you want to join us?
What do they mean that we are just like them? Are they also played by the being known as Mr. Redface and their parents have been taken by him?
I'm sorry, I'm in a hurry.
Okay, see you later. Now there are 3 children, one in a boot of a car, one in an open grave, and the last one seems rather close to the fire. A bit odd placements, but who are these 3 kids? They are spirits trapped forever with the way that they died, one being left in the boot of a car, or most likely suffocating to death, one buried alive and suffocating to death, and one burnt to death. 3 brutal ways to die, especially for a child. Well, let's continue our search for our father. Entering the door given to us by the cat, we find our father in a room looking like it's missing some textures, shivering all alone.
Dad?
Please, stop punishing me.
It's me, Dad.
Please, stop punishing me.
What has he done to you? Come on, let's go home, or Mr. Redface will take us both.
Please, stop punishing me. Well, the dad seems rather shaken by whatever Mr. Redface has done to him, but we can now grab a spell on the bedside table and we get jumped by Mr. Redface. After the jump scare, we wake up in the closet with our mother finding us and yeah, you're gonna need to get that checked out.
Hey, what's wrong with you? Why are you hiding in the closet? Mr. Redface has taken Dad. Oh, well that's a good thing then.
A bit odd for someone to say to their partner, but they don't seem to be in a very happy relationship with each other.
I'm not joking. It's a long story. Let me explain. How is your doll Ron doing today? Is it all right?
A doll?
Mom? How do you know about that?
Indeed, how does she know about that? Is she real? Is this all a dream? Is she another hallucination?
Of course I know. Since you haven't taken your medicine today, this isn't the first time you've had such hallucinations. Every time you tell a different story, but the common factor is always that stupid doll. Don't you remember the previous times? No.
This is when the metaphorical curtain falls. It is now very clear that Ron suffers from some kind of mental condition. But what could that be? Now, I'm not a psychologist, but I'll be using the DSM-5 to try figure out what could possibly be wrong with Ron, just to get a bit of insight into his character. Of course, I'm not diagnosing him, I'm just going to use it to find a general idea. So, Ron very clearly has hallucinations, both visual and auditory, with him hearing and seeing things which do not exist. He also has lapses in his memory, forgetting certain things in the past, such as his past hallucinations. But he also believes in certain things like Mr. Redface, which are not entirely based in reality and are made up on his own. They are something that his parents made up and he completely believes them, even though they don't make any logical sense to exist in the real world. Now, these three things really are the only things that you can really pull out of Ron to even put in the DSM-5 and a general sort of psyche profile to try make something for him. As anything else, I would be reaching very much and trying to pull something which does not exist out of this character, and using things like, obviously you can look it up yourself with Google, and if you have a DSM as well yourself, most likely be diagnosed, I believe, would either be a type of psychosis or schizophrenia. And to be honest, I think that was a bit obvious, as when I was playing this game, that's all I was thinking was, is this child schizophrenic? Is this what this is meant to be showing? But am I 100% correct with this prediction, or guess? Fuck no, I'm not. I'm not a qualified psychologist, but I think it's always fun to obviously look at characters in a more mental state like this. Of course, don't do this to real people because it doesn't fucking work, but with characters, you could definitely look at their actions in more isolation as they are thought about a lot more. And I think this was probably intentional, as it's going to make you now question, is everything happening real? But also, the presence of a drug, which is probably an antipsychotic medication, is probably what has been given to him and is probably what his medicine was. But it makes the mother even worse. The mother is completely neglectful of her child, who most likely suffers with a very tough mental issue, and she just seems annoyed by him not taking his medication and being annoyed with his general state, as this is not something he can control. This is something he needs help for, and he needs strong people to help him through it.
I don't know what is wrong with you. Just go to bed, it's midnight already.
And with that sentence, it is very clear the mother does not love her child. She just doesn't care. She probably is worked like a horse, but she just doesn't care. The child was diagnosed with a mental condition considering he has probably a prescription medication, but she still doesn't care, saying, oh, I don't know what's wrong with you. You fucking do, he's medicated, so you must know what's wrong with him. It just shows a very neglectful attitude and something that she very clearly just doesn't care about her own child, which is very sad. So I guess let's go to bed. That brother's floating, what the fuck? And we fall to the floor, with Mr. Redface attacking us, I guess.
What just happened? Are you alright? Do you feel better now? Yeah, Mom. It's Mr. Redface. It's alright. Tomorrow, I'll take the day off to stay home and take care of you. Really? Promise me, Mom. I promise. Now go back to sleep. Yes, Mom. Mom? Oh, you've broken the promise again.
Ah, yes. Being abandoned by someone who doesn't keep their words, a common sight for a neglected child or neglected people with parents who are as weak as their will. Well, let's go find the doll, I guess, because he seems to be our only friend. Oh, damn. He don't look very good, does he?
What happened to you?
My master beat the shit out of me. He wasn't happy about what happened yesterday, but weren't we supposed to be linked with the doll? So if the doll has been beaten up, does that mean that Ron was beaten up? Because if the doll isn't real, as the mother stated, does that mean something's happened to Ron? Surely.
I'm sorry. This is my fault. By the way, have you seen my mom anywhere?
My master has taken her away.
What?
It just happened. I'm sorry. I couldn't stop him. You should run away because he'll come back soon to take you too.
No, I have to save my mom and my dad too.
How? Don't you see what he did to me?
I found this at my dad's prison. I think it might help us defeat him.
That's the spell to defeat Mr. Redface. Come on, quickly. Go into the closet to find where your mom is being held. Running into the closet and back into the Purgatory area, we find another door open with the mother crying inside. Quickly, throw the spell in there and take cover. Throwing a tactical flashbang and taking cover, Mr. Redface walks into the room where the mother is crying, closes the door, and the room does some rather strange things. Well, after that little light show, we now leave to go back home, and why is the doll dissolving now?
What's happening to you?
My master has been defeated. The magic he cast on me is also fading.
Are you disappearing?
Don't worry, this is what I wanted. You should go outside and see your parents.
Dad! Mom! You all are free now!
Damn! You've been having an affair, haven't you?
I told you I was busy with work.
Liar! You've neglected this family for another man. Aren't you ashamed to lie to your son?
And what about you? Do you think you're better than me? You're just at home leeching off me all year round. What kind of father are you? No matter what I do, it's my business. I still bring money home to support my child, and if you still think I'm a whore, you're lowering yourself even below that.
One more word.
Fine, you and I will get a divorce. One of us will have to move out of this house. If you're still here tomorrow, I'll take my son and leave.
You stay right there. So, she says that she'll take us away from him, but leaves us with him. Now, of course, their relationship is completely fallen apart, and it probably should have done this a few months back, from my eyes. Of course, the father is as worse as we thought, probably even worse, physically assaulting his wife, which a man should never do. There is no excuse for it. And yeah, even the woman's pretty bad. Now, is she cheating on him? Is she having an affair? Is she a woman of the night? I don't know. She might be. She might not. I don't think it matters. She's the only one providing money for the household, so I don't think the dad can really speak to her in any sort of way. He is a failure of a person, and to some people, he would be a failure of a man, but that is toxic masculinity, of course, because the man can't be a stay-at-home dad if he really wants to, which he hasn't been. With the mother leaving, she is truly a woman of her words, and she definitely creates a great living environment for everyone. She didn't take care of us with her day off, and she also left us with the dad, which God knows what he's going to do. Overall, before the next set of events, both these parents are pretty shite. One of them is definitely worse than the other, the father, for being physically abusive and probably a bit mentally abusive as well, but the mother is definitely not scot-free of fault here. She is creating an environment where she is neglecting her child and abandoning him with a person that she doesn't even love. I never understand why people do this sometimes, as I genuinely believe having an environment where two people just don't get on is not healthy for a child, especially like this. She has allowed also the father to become the man he has become, a lazy slob of a man. Just, you know, when you're in a relationship like this especially, you should be checking each other and making sure that each other do stay at a certain standard in my eyes, as you know, that's the whole point of it, is that you keep each other in check. You know, she should have made him get a job or divorced him a lot earlier. Letting him get to this state is a failure on both of their parts, but of course it is mainly for the man to be blamed for this because, hey, he's the fucking drunkard here, not the woman, and the woman is working hard to make money, but again, she's a bit neglectful and she does sort of let him do this, which I find very odd. But again, some people do this in real life. Some people are too scared to break up, and yeah, people stay in relationships that they should have ended months, years, decades ago. We all know them, you know, that old couple that just can't stand each other and they just stay with each other because they can't be bothered to get divorced. But let's go chat to our dad for a bit. Oh, he's boozing and a bit of schmoozing. A bit too much boozing, but if I say so myself, oh, he's become Mr. Redface, has he? Yes, Mr. Redface, a guess that I had immediately when playing this game as soon as I saw booze was involved. As when you drink a bit of booze, you get a bit flush and hot, making your face red. I would know because I myself get extremely hot and flushed when I drink even a single drink. PSA, drink responsibly. It's not cool to get extremely drunk like this man because you'll probably turn into what he's about to do. I won't let this happen. And now the dad walks to our room, shifting in and out of being Mr. Redface and kind of like a Nosferatu kind of thing. And now we go to our bedroom. Standing in the doorway, we see him strangling Ron, with the lights flickering and the dad, Bruce, flickering between himself and the monster, Mr. Redface, and then a snap of our neck, with the light going out to symbolize Ron's heart dying as well. He then takes our body and puts it in the wardrobe, and now the second curtain falls.
No, 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 this cannot be true.
I'm very sorry, Ron. Your closet. I think you're able to open it now. Opening the wardrobe, we see Ron.
This is me. Why don't I know anything about these?
You've always known, because I am the knowing part of you. You've tried to deny and reject these things, and made up stories to make yourself feel better about you and your dad. And me, I have to find a way to lead you back to the reality. I've tried many times, many ways to help you accept this truth as easily as possible, and every time I fail, guess what happens? Tick, tick, boom. Your memory resets back to the starting point, which is the night your dad murdered you.
How long have I been dead?
14 days.
Can't have been that long. What really happened to my parents?
As for your dad, he's hiding in a cheap motel room. Go home with me, Dad.
What about my mom? She still sees me, doesn't she?
That's right, because she's only at home late at night. But if it's daytime,
Son?
and the mother discovers Ron's dead body in the wardrobe. It was revealed the scene earlier was her crying with a couple cops with her being questioned about Ron's murder. Do you have any clues about your husband's hiding place? You just dropped something, ma'am. What is that?
It's a motel card, but I'm not sure it's mine.
And that ends the game, with an outro cutscene showing Bruce was arrested as the fucker deserves for a murder, and Ron's funeral with him joining the other children in the afterlife. I guess a happy ending in a way for a child who was not shown any love and was neglected of any sort of social interactions, and he's able to spend the rest of his time playing with other children who were given the same fate as him, killed by people who don't deserve to be parents. Okay, so what did this game actually mean? And let's answer some questions. So one, the whole time it's been Ron's journey of accepting that his parents are not good people, especially his dad, and accepting his own death, which will allow him to move on into the afterlife and no longer be a vengeful spirit in the life he is in now. Second, what did the doll mean by she only sees Ron because she comes home late at night? Well, let's put it this way. You get home from a long day at work, working from early to late, what do you want to do? Well, you probably just want to go to bed, which is mainly what I want to do when I get home from work. So first of all, it's most likely that Ron is probably asleep. And second of all, the mother is so neglectful, she probably just doesn't even check on him and just goes straight to bed, only checking on Ron due to her waking up on probably her off day and realizing, oh fuck, I haven't checked him in 14 days, and then finds his dead body. Truly a mother deserving of a Best Mother award. It would also explain why Ron hasn't been eating or taking his medication. And no, I don't think the meds were for the mother. I do believe that they were for Ron, with some parts taking place within his memories in the past, from the start of the game, his birthday or the date of his death, as while his mother got him nothing, his father gave him the broken neck, which was shown with the doll. His dad also is haunted by his dead son, with him being plagued by nightmares due to the guilt he is stricken with due to his drunken rage, and Ron due to him wanting his parents to be good people, as any child deserves good parents, creating a separate being called Mr. Redface, who is his dad when he's drunk, because he doesn't want to look at his dad as a bad person. Now, obviously, with the thing that his mother only sees him at night, it could be seen that maybe that at night Ron is a ghost of some kind. Like, we kind of know that ghosts only really come out at night, and that's why she can see him, because his spirit is still there. Maybe, maybe not. I think it's more of just she's neglectful. And as the saying goes, every child deserves parents, but not all parents deserve children. Honestly, this game is fucked. And I did not expect this game to come out swinging like it did. It shocked me and is uncomfortable. And with a short runtime of, 25 minutes, there is only so much I can actually analyze and talk about. But I'm intrigued and expect me to yap about the next parts of the bad parenting saga, I guess, when they come out. Anyway, that's enough waffling from me. See you around, Crocodile.